Welcome everybody, I'm here today with Josh Stone and we're going to be talking about relationships. And to be specific, how couples try to control each other to keep their uncomfortable feelings at bay. So welcome Josh.
Hi everyone and welcome to today's video.
I'm going to quickly share a story because I think it will set up a key discussion between us, Josh.
Yeah.
So I've been working with a couple who are having difficulties in the relationship. Now, when they first met, the woman had a very, very strong people-pleasing part of her personality, which of course functionally is wonderful, because if you've got a strong people-pleaser part of your personality, you want people to be happy, and then that helps you feel happy. So very functional. When you go to a beauty therapist or you go to a shop, you know, you want that person to have a people pleaser part of their personality. However,
Definitely.
sometimes the people pleaser part of the personality can be extremely dysfunctional, typically when it is associated with a low self-worth part of the personality, or a part that's deeply afraid of abandonment, which is what this story is going to be about. So she had a very strong people pleaser part and a very strong part of her personality was really afraid of being abandoned by someone she entered into a relationship with.
Yeah.
So the people pleaser looked for what she would have perceived to be the rules of acceptable behaviour from the partner. Okay, so basically it would look like this. The people pleaser would look at him and go, okay, so I don't get abandoned. What are the rules? How do I make him happy so he doesn't leave me? So
And who do I need to be?
Yeah, who do I need
to mold myself to be to please him?
Yeah, so who do I need to be to please him so I don't get abandoned?
Yeah.
So this got set up when they first went into the relationship at quite a young age. So he is would display certain control freak type behaviours, where he had really strong rules about, you know, what a good woman should be, you know, really strong ideas that basically came from his family environment. So a good woman should be like this, and of course as a result of her people pleaser tied to the abandoned child aspect part of her personality, she goes, oh, okay, so these are the rules of being a good woman. And she starts to reject parts of her personality that would mean that she would break those rules. Okay. And all of this is unconscious, by the way, everybody. No one's sitting there going, as they go into relationships, oh, this is what I'm doing as I enter this phase of the relationship. It's just unconscious
not at all.
partnering dynamics. Anyway, so this goes on for a number of years. She plays out the people pleaser and does a lot of things for him, keeps rejecting the parts of the personality that might have ideals that are completely different to, you know, who she's being for the husband. And the husband's happy because she's, you know, fulfilling from his sort of more rule-making parts. She's playing out the roles that the good woman plays out based on his personality parts and their viewpoints. Anyway, this goes on for a number of years, and then the parts of her personality that she kept pushing away to please him based on the rules of engagement that they set up early on in the relationship started to surface, and she started to go, you know what, I don't feel happy.
Yeah.
When did I used to be happy? I used to be happy when I was out having fun, socializing, connecting with people, partying. She's got a bit of a wild girl part to her. And so these parts started to show up, as they always do. And of course she's really conflicted because she's got this sense of, oh, I've got to get away from this relationship a bit, and I've got to go out and I want to go back and do some of the things that I used to do. And the party girl, social butterfly parts of her personality. But of course her people pleaser saying, oh, you better not do that because your husband's going to be upset, and that's been controlled by the part that's afraid of being abandoned, or don't do that, he will leave you. So she's now in this phase of internal conflict.
Yeah. Yeah, she's starting to explore, well, you're right, what have I left behind? What are these parts of me that are calling, that I used to be so identified with and used to bring me so much joy? Why did I let them go? And that starts that sort of internal inspection process of going, yeah, why did I let them go, and for what reason? And that starts that whole questioning process, which I'm sure you're about to take everyone through, Barry.
Yeah, of course, and that conflict too, right? It's really important to say that some people watching this will experience this internal conflict between parts, where they feel that if I follow this part, it's going to threaten the relationship. So people can stay in that, what we call swing pattern, for years. So like, oh, I should go, no, I should go, I should be doing that. So anyway, with this particular person, because it was what we call a developmental phase, meaning the parts that were saying, hey, you got to honour me, they weren't going to leave her alone. So this conflict went on, and she started to honour these parts. So she started to go out with say, some of her friends, her girlfriends at this point, and without her husband. And so when she'd go out, she'd be in her social butterfly subpersonality. That's a part that loves to really connect with other people, have fun.
Yeah.
Her party girl subpersonality likes to have a drink and get a little bit loose and dance and what have you. And she'd come home and she'd be really, really happy and fulfilled, because at long last she was starting to fulfill some of the parts of the personality that she had repressed to play out the people-pleasing role with the partner. And the partner, when she gets home, starts withholding love. At this point, displaying passive-aggressive behaviour. And this continues, by the way. So she's like, she's already learning. So if I go and follow these things, my husband's not happy. And at this stage, he was saying to her, oh, look, I do support you in going and doing these things, but his emotional tone and his behaviour sort of led her to think, well, no, he's not that happy.
Like on a conscious level, he's saying, oh yeah, I can see my partner's not happy. Yeah, you should go out and honour those parts. But you're right, on the unconscious level, it's triggering all his insecurities around abandonment.
Totally. Triggering all of his, yeah, that's right. Exactly that. So she keeps going out, and the more she goes out, it actually starts going from passive-aggressive behaviour. He starts really making her wrong. Because now, and just so you know, he doesn't know that about his deep insecurities. They're unconscious, they're under the line. What he starts to pull out is his rule maker part of his personality, his righteous rule maker. Because remember I said earlier, he had really strong views about what a good woman was. So he started going, you're not a good woman because you're not doing these things around the house, and you're not doing this, and you're not doing that. Okay? So now what he's trying to do is, of course, get her to come back and be the good woman. He wants her back in people-pleasing, being compliant to his rule maker about what it is to be a good woman.
Well, there's an element of control in there because he's feeling unsafe. So he's unconsciously feeling unsafe. How do I bring some control and some safety back into this? Well, I'm going to control her and make sure she does what I want to make me feel safe.
Correct. But he doesn't even know that he's doing that to make him feel safe at this point.
Absolutely.
So then the relationship heads into this dynamic, which you would have seen when you're working with clients. So when he's guilting her now and making her wrong, she's going, oh, he's upset with me. That means he could leave me. And she starts to feel nervous because the part of her that's afraid of being left and abandoned starts to come up in her consciousness. So she now goes back to being good girl. Okay.
Swing pattern.
Swing pattern.
Yeah, absolutely.
Swing pattern. Okay. And he's going, good. She's being a good woman again. Okay. Now, we'll work through this quickly, but it's really important to understand this dynamic. So as she comes back into being compliant to him, his rule maker goes, oh, look, she's being a good girl. He starts being loving to her again. So she starts to feel safe. But then she feels deeply unfulfilled. She's going, I'm back here again. And after a month of she's starting to go, and the other patterns to go and have fun start coming up again. And again, she's conflicted. Now, this went on for probably a year where they're moving in this swing pattern where she goes out, He guilts or finds ways of controlling it, gets her back to being compliant. Anyway, she finally, that's it. And she starts to go out because she's so deeply unhappy. And at this point, he's now freaking out.
Yeah.
So they end up coming to do some work with me. And the basic dynamic, if we look at it, we can see that she, at the early stages, wasn't willing to go and keep living the life of her social butterfly, her partier, and these parts of her, because she perceived that would get her abandoned by the husband. Okay, so she's afraid of meeting the part of her that would feel abandoned. So it means she became compliant to the husband. He, when she starts going and partying, he could finally see through doing some of this work that what was really happening below the line is that when she went to go out and party and have fun, his deep insecurity and fear of abandonment was coming up in consciousness. And the truth was, and he didn't even know this for years when this game was going on, where he was trying to control her. He was trying to control her because the child parts that were in the unconscious were saying, look, she's really attractive. She's a very attractive woman. She's really attractive. She's really social. If she's out there, she's going to meet someone, and she's going to leave me.
Yeah.
Okay? So you can see both of them caught in this dynamic where the entire relationship was set up just to stop them from having to feel their fear of abandonment. Two people in the
Well, I was just going to say that, Perry, you're right. At the very base level, you've got two abandoned child sub-personalities that are both deeply afraid of being abandoned and not having anyone. So each in their different way are both trying to protect their abandoned child. It's just so happens that creates a lot of tension between them at a conscious and unconscious level.
Yeah, it sets up all sorts of control patterns. And I think the important thing here, just for why are we doing this and why are we sharing this today and sharing this story, the moment that you're trying to control a partner or your partner's trying to control you so they don't have to feel what's on the unconscious level, which might be the fear of being rejected, the fear of abandonment, there's no love in the relationship. Your partner is just an object to stop you from feeling your uncomfortable feelings. That's not love, it's not intimacy, it's not connection. And unless you work out what your patterns are in relationship, and your partner can work out what his or her patterns are in relationship, you're likely to be bringing control games into your relationship, and that just creates disconnection and lack of intimacy, lack of fun, and it's not true love.
And a good indication too, Perry, that's going on is that you feel like you can't be your true self around your partner. So you feel like like the example you gave, the female felt like she had to squash that party girl and that fun-loving part just to please her partner. So the more that you feel like you're squashing parts of your personality that actually bring you joy to keep your partner safe or happy, that's a real indication that this is going on for you unconsciously.
Yeah, that's a great point, Josh. I think that's probably the most important point, that if you feel like you can't be yourself in a relationship because being yourself would upset your partner, that means there's issues in the relationship that need to be worked with, because intimacy means that we're free to be who we are. Your partner's free to be who they are and receive love from you. You're free to be who you are and you receive love from them.
Definitely.
But just finally, in closing, again, and that's the importance of this work. These two people that I'm talking about, they'd been in a relationship for many years, but they were so unconscious to what they were really bringing into the relationship. They didn't know what they were carrying underneath the line on the unconscious level, and therefore they could not be clear about what dynamics they are bringing to the relationship, which is why if you want a good relationship, you have to understand every aspect of your personality and how it impacts the way you relate to your partner, and vice versa, your partner has to do the same. And just in closing, for those that are interested, we're running a whole bunch of relationship workshops around Australia in the major cities. And so if you resonate with this information and you want to do some good quality work around developing intimate, fun, connected relationships, come and check the events out. Thanks, everybody.
Right.
Thank you,
Thanks, everyone.
Josh.
Thanks, Perry.
Talk soon.